Sometimes when trying to solve polynomials, you will find yourself with a perfect square trinomial. This is a brief tutorial to refresh your memory on how to factor perfect square trinomials. Perfect square trinomials are written in the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, which can be factored as the quantity of a plus b squared, or a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, which can be factored as the quantity of a minus b squared. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this works in a real-life example. So here we have x squared plus 10x plus 25. What I like to do is I like to look at my first term and ask myself, is that a perfect square? In this case, it is. X squared is a perfect square. So then I'm going to write down the square root of that value. Square root of x squared is x. Then I ask myself, is the last term a perfect square? And the answer to that is yes. 25 is a perfect square, and the square root of that is 5. So I'm going to write that root down here. Now I ask myself, is this middle term equal to 2 times the product of my first term, or the root of my first term, so x, and the root of my last term, 5. So 2 times x times 5. 2 times x times 5 equals 10x. And this is the same thing as my middle term. Since that's the case, then the next thing I ask myself is, what is this sign right in front of the middle term? This time it's positive. So it's very easy what I do now. I take the root of my first term, which is this x right here. I take this sign, which is plus, and I take the root of my last term, which is right here. So I'm going to have the quantity of x plus 5, and I'm going to square it. And that's how I factor a perfect square trinomial with a middle term positive. Now let's look at a perfect square trinomial with a middle term negative. I go through the same steps. What is my first term? X squared. That happens to be a perfect square, so I'm going to write down the root of that, which is simply x. Then I go to my last term. Is that a perfect square? Yes, it is. So what's the root of that? 5. I wrote those down. Then I ask myself, is 2 times the product of these two, so 2 times 5 times x, equal to this value right here? 2 times 5 times x is 10x. That is equal to this middle term. So then I know I have a perfect square trinomial. All I do to factor this is I write the root of my first term, which is x, the root of my second term, which is 5, and this sign in the middle, so I have x minus 5, that quantity squared. And that is how you factor a perfect square trinomial.